What's going on, YouTube? Got some more things in my mind here. Um, Basically, another thing that's kind of going on, and and it's kind of a rough thing. Um, Here's the deal. I have found myself to be in a minority of, of people, and what I say by that is, one problem that I have is the only friend I kind of have in my life right now. I have mentors and things like that, but the only friend I really have is a guy that maybe lives in California. And when I say friend, what I mean is I have other associates and people like that, but when it comes to a level of conversation and a level of getting something out of a conversation, I can only say really one. And the problem is that, I have a lot of other people that I associate with, but I find out time after time after time after time, they talk about things that are of no value. Like, give you an example. We'll be having a conversation, and all of a sudden, they'll just bust out a movie quote. And I watch movies and I do things like that, whatever. But it's almost like a play and joke conversation all the time. And don't get me wrong, like having fun, like having things. But one thing about a conversation and the people that you hang around with is that sometimes you can get so involved in idle talk that before you know it, you've kind of like getting to a point where you're just kind of sitting around wasting your time. And these same people that you're having these talks and to come up with these conversations, because one thing I do believe, you are your conversation. If you're a guy or a gal who are sitting around talking about nothing, TV shows, Desperate Housewives, just silly people talking about other people, whatever kind of deal, whatever, you're not doing what you need to do. Because it goes like this. It says, millionaires talk about ideas and how to make them happen. Middle class people talk about ideas and watch them happen. Poor people talk about other people and wish that they could make things happen. And these quotes come from Keith Cameron Smith. And it's so. And my question is to you, which category are you? Which category do you find yourself to be in when you having a majority of questions? So I want you to just take some time and think about that for a second. This is not to pick on anybody, but just to find out where you are. Because most people say, hey, I have a problem with weight. I want to be buff, I want to be ripped, or whatever. But my question is, do you have a support team? If you can't support yourself, you need to hang around people who are charged like this. And sometimes with friends and acquaintances, we get thrown in situations. Like, when you want the job you want, you go out and you look for the job that you want. You don't just want to take any job. McDonald's is always hiring, but you don't want to just go to McDonald's and get a job. And I think it's the same thing when it comes to friends. And here's the funny part. Some of these friends and some of these acquaintances can be your own family. Sometimes you can get into these conversations where you go over to your family's house and you're sitting around and all you guys are doing are playing drinking games, talking about nothing. And see, here's the funny part. And this is how to check to see, is your environment good for conversation and for growing. When you're the guy, which I am most of the time, when everyone else is talking about this kind of stuff, then you bring up your conversation and all of a sudden your conversation is boring. Because people associate positive things and doing things to better your life as boring conversations. It kind of, give you a perfect example. It goes back to the high school days. I want you to think about something. Think about the nerds in your high school, right? Those nerds in the future turn out to be your bosses. But yet in school, they were like, oh my gosh, this guy's so boring. Look how this guy dresses. Give me a break. The guy never had the girls. Whatever, you name it. Right? But the people who always made fun and thought they were so cool and all this other kind of stuff, whatever, now, 10, 15 years later, they're bagging groceries at your local grocery store. They're doing construction work. They're working at McDonald's. You know, it's because they didn't take the time to nurture themselves, because they felt that knowledge and talking about things that are so-called boring and things that they may not be well at are boring topics and don't need to be talked about. But when things get bad in their life, then all of a sudden they want to ask the so-called nerd or the person who had the boring conversations for advice. So my question is this: life is going to be fun, but see, I don't look at it as a boring conversation. I look at topics that better yourself as fun, because guess what? It's fun being successful. It's fun having money in the bank. It's fun being able to take a trip when you want to, and when you come back, you're not worried about, oh, I spent all my money. No, that's fun. It's not so fun when you don't have things. When you can't, you can't go somewhere. You have to say, you know what? I have to wait till I get paid before I can go to the concert. Or, I have to wait till I get paid before I can get floor seat tickets to the Lakers games. See, I love to have fun. But what I do is, by me being disciplined, it gives me the more opportunity to have more fun. So just marinate on that for a second. Just think about what situation are you in and who are you in that equation. Thank you.